Starting. Stop broadcast.
We're live.
Right. Welcome, guys. I think we're live. I think so. It's myself and Mr. Dave Lawnboyspost. Thanks for joining me, Dave.
You're welcome. Thanks for persevering with the massive amount of crap that's just going on behind the scenes that no one ever really
I'll be if anybody's actually listening to this, can somebody make a comment? Because at the side of my can you see the chat thing at the side, Dave, by any chance?
I can't. I'm running full screen.
Right. Well, I've got apparently there's a chat thing, but I don't actually know if anyone's on the channel. I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my YouTube app and see if I can find a video with me. Is anybody actually in the channel? In fact, wait a minute. If I open up YouTube on a browser, should that work?
It should. That's not going to cause echo or anything, is it?
I don't know.
And this is why we don't work for NASA.
This is why I don't work in IT. Bloody hell, we can't even get a Skype call going. Right, wait a wee minute. I'm just going to jump into a video and see if we can actually. We don't even know if we're live. Well, we are live, but we don't know if anybody's actually watching us. Hang on a second. Right, YouTube. Right, well, apparently we've got 6 people watching, but nobody's actually showing up. Right, YouTube. Right, well, apparently we've got 6. Sorry, that was the. Right, we've got some people in. Hooray! Can you still hear me, Dave? Yeah.
I can still hear you.
Ah, good man, good man. Right, we've got chat. I don't know if you can maybe jump into actually my. If you jump into my channel, you should see the chat. If you want to try that, you should see it says live. Anyway, listen, welcome, guys. We've got here eventually. Dave and I have been pissing about since about 4:30 this afternoon. Hang on, my phone's just starting to play my bloody intro. Yeah, we couldn't even get Skype going. But we're here at last. This is have you used this Google Hangouts before, Dave?
We've done it for a Retro Unlim Live, but I've always been a backseat driver, if you will, and just get sent a link.
And you're letting me drive. God help us.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're here. We're here at last. Thanks for joining us, guys. We're about 15 minutes late. But if you've ever tuned into any of my live streams, you'll know that I'm always late because I'm
I've got your YouTube channel open. I can't see anything in there, but
you know,
pop up down below.
Right, not to worry. I've got the comments here anyway. What we've done, guys, is Dave is down in that there England, and I'm up here in the wet and wild Scotland. So what I've done is I've sent Dave a list.
Who says the nations don't get on?
Who says we don't? Here we go. Crossing the hands. Right, let's. Anyway, Dave, how you doing? How's tricks? How's your work been?
Not bad. I'm not working tonight, obviously.
Have you been off all week?
No, I've just been off tonight. Tonight's booked off, but I got next week, and this isn't a blatant plug or anything, but I got next weekend off as well because it's my birthday.
When? What date?
22nd. So that's Monday, I think.
Mine's is the 19th.
See, it's a good month. I think Shock 16 is in October as well.
Are you a Libran then? Yeah.
Yes. No, I think you mean librarian.
I don't actually read many books. It's actually slightly odd the way it keeps flicking back and forwards. Hopefully it's not too distracting.
You should try it when you got more than one person on. It's Caesar inducing.
Yeah. Great. Anyway, listen, what we're going to do is, because time is marching on, I don't know if you've got any time limits, Dave.
No, I'm good.
I promised my daughter I'd probably let her in here about 9 o'clock, so I think we've got a good hour anyway. So what we're going to do is we're going to batter straight. In fact, before we start, I've got my own question. Lawnboyspost1975. How did that come about, Dave? It's a very, very interesting name for a channel.
Right. Okay, so this isn't a PG-13 broadcast or anything, is it?
No.
Right. Basically, once upon a time in university days, if you know what I mean. Like, Lawnboy is an American tractor mower make. This is the stupidest story ever. And how should we put this? When I was at college, we'd like to partake in certain recreational habits. And once someone just said, Jesus Christ, Dave, you hoovered that up like a lawn boy. And so Lawn Boy became my nickname. And then once upon a time when I was, I didn't realize that I remember when I first came across YouTube and it was a whole new experience. It was like, wait, what? What's this? Like cats falling off pianos and stuff? This is amazing. And then but you have to have a login to be able to comment. And so I just went, Lawn Boy, that's my nickname. And Lawnboyspost, my Hotmail email, which I'm quite proud of this. This is so sad. I've had since 1996. I just went, I need to create a login, Lawnboyspost, because that was my Hotmail and my nickname, and it was taken. So I just went, birth date 1975. So everyone thinks there's this really massive grand story behind, like, you must have sat down for ages and come up with this name. And it was like, no, it was just basically, that was my nickname. Then it became my Hotmail account, and then I needed to create a login for YouTube, and it was taken. So I just put my date of birth on the end.
You basically added bits to it, and it kind of just grew.
Because I think kind of, you could almost, and I don't want this to sound arrogant, but you could almost argue that it's like a brand now, for me at least. Mm-hmm. But it was just a complete, accident, like you said, just tweaking of a name just so I could get a login. Yeah,
I think it was kind of, well, not quite similar, but when I first got the intraweb back in 1997, I think it was.
56K V90 modems.
I know. So I went on, I think it was Yahoo, and I went on a games forum of some sort, and it was like username Alan, this has been taken. Alan Stewart, this has been taken. I'm like, bloody hell. And at that point, I had just discovered MAME. I'd literally been given a disc with MAME, and it had Space Invaders and Galaxian on it. So I thought, MAME, this has been taken. One of my mates was big into Doom, and he was, I don't know if you played Doom back in the day, if you killed somebody, it's called a frag. He used to the Fragmeister. So I thought, MAME and Meister, boom, there you go. And that's how it became. And
do you know what? I do wonder how many people out there in YouTube land who have channels, their naming conventions are probably running along pretty similar lines, if you know what I mean. Which is, that's taken, crap, that's taken, crap, that's taken. I'll just stick some numbers on the end. And
I would be absolutely raging if somebody took a MAME Meister, but it's such a ridiculous name that nobody's ever going to do that.
It's funny when you say about this is a complete tangent, and I'll just say this, but none of my mates who've got MAME now believe this happened, but I remember running MAME on a Pentium 166 back in the day, and it was just like, just downloaded all the ROMs, fired it in, it worked, played it with a USB, well, not then, played it with a proper hardwired joypad, and then all of a sudden, when did you start having to add CHD files?
Aye. That's when it went from like 2 gig to like 500, I think.
Yeah, but it kept it, no, you need a CHAD file for this, and it's like, well, I never used to. I used to run this on a Pentium 166. Now why are you telling me I have to learn that? What? I think it stands for something hard drive, doesn't it? Like,
does anybody know what?
Yeah, that's relevant. I was just you might know because MAME's in your name.
Right, what we'll do, Dave, I think I've sent you a list of the questions. I think we've got some questions in the comments section. Whoops, a daisy. Hang on. Back again. So I've got far too many. I've got more windows open than bloody Everest windows. Right, let me find out. There we go. Right, we'll start off. Michelle Knight is asking, do you feel you have the skills to maintain the retro equipment into the future so that it'll all be running until the day that you're pushing up the roses? Yourself, Dave, I'll let you answer that one. Have you got the skills?
Do you know what? I've got a modicum of sort of, skills with maintaining stuff like that. But I think what's great about stuff right now is it doesn't really matter, does it? Because there's always someone who does know. And that's the great thing about the community and YouTube and stuff like that, which is if something goes tits up, just bang out a video and say, hey, well, this has gone wrong, or this has gone wrong. Does anyone know how to do this? And there'll be a million responses, or there'll be a million videos out there. So it's a good question. But yeah, it also kind of comes back to how great this community is, that if you don't know something,
somebody's you're
part of a bigger thing where someone does.
Yeah, I mean, I've just recently moved into my own house, and I'm a complete hand-fisted baboon wearing boxing gloves. I mean, I wouldn't trust me to do anything. But when I moved in, the house was basically wrecked. It had been rented out, and there was like bare wires hanging from the living room. I'm like, shit, I can't afford to get somebody to do it. Tell you what, I'll go into YouTube, and I followed a YouTube video how to wire up a light, and I've even learned how to make spaghetti bolognese through YouTube. So it's a wonderful tool.
It is. It kind of, do you know what? I think because of the whole sort of video gaming stuff on it, it gets a bad rap where people just think it's like a juvenile thing, and you know, they seem to forget that the gaming community is just one small aspect of it, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff out there, you know, like strip an engine, like you said, wire lights, everything on the baker cake, it's all on there. But I think sometimes people just look at it through like narrow, well, ignorance, isn't it? Look at it from narrow-minded eyes and just go, all it is people playing Fortnite. See what I did there?
We'll tell the viewers what happened when Dave and I were trying to get Skype working. Dave was phoning me on my mobile phone, and I'm like, Dave, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. And I tried to phone him. I'm like, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Then my daughter knocks on the door. Dad, there's a guy talking in my Bluetooth headphones. Ah, man, I don't know. But we're here anyway. So, yeah, thanks for the question, Michelle. Next one, record. Who says record? Record, then return. Some new handheld consoles seem to be designed just for emulation rather than playing new games. Do you think we're too busy trying to play old games on new hardware to appreciate just how amazing this modern hardware is? I'll let you answer that one again, Dave.
That's a very good point. I think the fact that lots of this stuff can emulate stuff so well is just a testament to where technology is now, and that people, you know, like the hacking community will always find a way to exploit it for stuff like that. But I think that's a good point, which is, yeah, I think there's a large chunk of us who are obsessed with looking, and that's not a bad thing, looking backwards, that, you know, sometimes I think we do appreciate where we are and what we can actually achieve. I think a good console that's kind of you know, negated that is the Switch. It's got it right, which is it's a whole complete brilliant idea that everyone's embraced exactly for what it is. And so, you know, it's not what it could do, or, you know, like, or emulation or anything like that. The whole, you know, take it out in the wild, play it, you know, in your house, take it to a destination, play it at the other end. I think that's the first console where it's been completely, everyone's not obsessed with, you know, old school stuff and retro and emulation and stuff like that. I think that's the first console that's been in a while, been completely embraced for what it was designed for. I guess that's a testament to what good idea. I mean, I don't own one, but
you're not really. Have you got many Nintendo consoles, Dave? Are you not a Nintendo person?
Oh no, I've got a NES, a SNES, Game Boy Advance, 3DS. This is not bragging rights. A DS, a Wii U, which I have to say is one of the most underrated consoles of all time.
Yeah.
And a Wii, which is, well, there's a question we'll get to later on, you know, like one of your favorite systems. But the Wii is one of my favorite, well, I can't say underrated because it was such a success, but I absolutely love the Wii, which comes back to the question we were just asked. On that one, I had it for about 3 years before I soft modded it, and I only soft modded it so I could play Ghostbusters, because Ghostbusters was under this stupid thing because Sony owned Columbia Pictures or something. So when it came out, it wasn't allowed to come out in this country on anything but Sony machines for a year.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's funny. I remember being at work, and when I found that out, because I was expecting it to come out the Wii, you know, the next day, my mate said, "Oh, Dave, you're not going to believe this. It's not out for a year." And I just went, I will find a way to play that game. Oh, yes, I will. And then I came back to work on the Monday afterwards. My mate just went, "Did you do it?" And I just went, "Who's just soft modded his Wii? This guy." He goes, "What's soft mod mean?" I went, "I don't know. I only just found it." And I did it. It was the most nervous 15 minutes of my life. And you know, I got a copy of Ghostbusters winging its way from America. So that's why I soft modded it. I didn't soft mod it for piracy or anything like that. But then I suddenly found out, wait, because it's not like an Xbox, but the Wii's actually a pretty solid emulation device, believe it or not.
That's one thing. I mean, I've soft modded mines years ago, and it's one thing I've never actually tried is emulation on it.
It's really good. I don't know if you can still connect to. Well, you can get to the homebrew channel still if you've soft modded it, but I don't know if the live aspect of it's up anymore.
Probably not. I think, did that not disappear? Were people not up in arms? Because I think maybe 2-3 years ago, did they not take the?
Oh no, but I meant the hooky side.
Right.
They
Yeah.
had their own servers and stuff. I mean, I remember when I first soft modded it, there was internet TV on it and everything. I think I'll say allegedly for purposes. I do remember that when Scott Pilgrim was in the cinema, I watched it through something called Media Player. I'm not making this up. Media Player Christmas Edition on my Wii, and found a screen But no, like you said, that's a good question, because it is. I think, what is it if you don't pull your head out of your ass every now and then and notice where you are? Everything just goes flying by. And I do think because we like, you know, retro gaming, obviously, but I do think sometimes, you know, it is worth just looking around you and just appreciating stuff for what it is. Otherwise, it becomes a PS Vista, doesn't it?
Vita,
yeah.
Vita. Because you're drinking a pint of beer.
No, this is Pepsi Max.
Ah, right. What size is that? Is that a Stein or something?
This is a pint and a half. And the reason I have this is because I like having to, you know, I don't like having, if I'm like gaming, this sounds so stupid. I'm one of those people that can't be asked to have to go and get another drink. Let's just say I like a long drink. The only problem is because it's a pint and a half, and when you put ice in it and you fill it up with Pepsi and stuff like that, before you know it, you're completely wired because you're not working out how much caffeine you're absorbing. But
you're up all night, mate.
There are worse tipbles.
It's funny, just leading on from that question, one of my mates mentioned that. He says, why is it as soon as you get a brand new bit of technology, the first thing you want to do is, can I get a Spectrum emulator for it? And that is me. What's that all about? I mean, I've got more bloody platforms to play Spectrum emulators than I know what to do with, but go figure. I don't know. One thing I do like about, you know, modern bits of hardware playing old machines is, you know, there's stuff like what do you call it? And that's what you tend to forget. A lot of the original sort of handhelds, they weren't backlit. I mean, I bought myself a Neo Geo Pocket, and I couldn't wait to get it. And then I put it on. I'm like, oh shit!
Do this. I love them. By the way, the Neo Geo Pocket has the best joystick on any.
It's excellent. It's really good. It is. Totally agree with you on that one.
You do this. You're like,
yeah, it's really clicky, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I switched this.
I'll tell you just a quick stupid story. I remember when I got my Neo Geo Pocket Color originally when I was living downtown, and I left it on the side, and it just came to the house, and then I went off, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And then I heard this flush go, and my flatmate came out of the toilet, and did you just take my Neo Geo Pocket for a dump? I said, that is out of order, sir. He goes, what's your problem? I'm like, you just took my brand new Neo Geo Pocket Color to the shitter. I said, do you have any idea how rude that is? And to this day, he still says, I don't know what your fucking problem was. And I'm like, you took my Neo Geo Pocket Color for a shit. That's so out of order.
I take it you're no friends with him anymore. Was that the guy that you blocked you're telling me about? No.
Yeah.
Quite right.
Doing that years ago. That's just rude.
But anyway, getting back on track with my my Neo Geo Pocket, when I bought it. No, did I buy it on eBay? No, I bought it from a mate actually. And when I got home and I tried it, I'm like, shit, the back light doesn't work. And I was fucking about with it, hitting it. And then I Googled it, and it's like, there is no backlight. I'm like, oh, that's a pile of wank. And
other consoles don't is the calendar thing on it, and all the internal memory just runs off a standard watch battery, and you can just replace that really easily. You don't have to take the unit apart or anything.
Oh, really? Yeah.
There's a circle on the back, and you just stick a penny in it, open it, and then you just put the battery in. Whereas most stuff now, it's got some sort of, you know, like internal battery, and if your internal battery dies, then your device still works. But
yeah.
See, Neo Geo, SNK, they were ahead of the curve.
So do you actually play your Pocket much?
I do actually. Do you know what? It's a really, really, really. I mean, there's not a massive amount of software on it, but it is a really good, little handheld unit. Like you said, though, I don't know if there is a mod to put a backlight on the screen.
I'm sure there is.
It's the worst thing. The screen is terrible. Well, the screen isn't terrible. Like you said, just the fact that it's not backlit, and you spend it. Don't even think about playing it outside. That's just never going to happen. But it's got some really good games. It's got an amazing port of Metal Slug on it. Metal Slug on it is absolutely fantastic.
And top
Sonic games on there as well.
Sorry?
Yeah, and there's a Street Fighter game on there. There's a Street Fighter versus SNK game on there.
Ah, right. Did you say Sonic there, no?
Yeah, Sonic.
No, really?
I forget which one it is. I've got a gameplay of it on my channel. I can't remember what it's called. Right. Sonic game. Yeah, because maybe someone in the comments will know this, but I know for a while there was this whole thing where it was tying into the Dreamcast for a bit, kind of.
Something does ring a bell with me with that one. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a really good Sonic game on it.
And it's also got one of the best arcade golf games, Top Player Golf. Love that.
Yeah.
Was it now? Is it Neo Tough Masters? Sorry,
It's Neo Tough Masters.
That's an awesome game.
And it's also got a really, really good Mega Man game on it.
That's a tough game. I tried to play. I'm one of these stupid people if I've got like access to maybe 5 games, I will not play the third one or the fourth one. I'll always want to play the original, and it's as tough as old boots.
Have you played 11 yet?
Sorry?
You played Mega Man 11 yet?
I'm still struggling in level 1 on the first one, mate.
I'm just trying to think because obviously it fills up your Facebook feed every time that a game comes out, and everyone's going on about Mega Man 11. I haven't seen a physical copy of it.
Is that on the Switch? No,
that's on the Switch, the PS4, and the Xbox.
Okay.
But I just saw it come up my feed when it came out. I think it was about a week and a half ago, and I just went, "Oh, I'm going to get a physical copy of that," and can't find one anywhere. I know I could order one, but I'm one of those people. It's still kind of nice just to go out and physically buy a game. Yeah. I know everyone says, and particularly because I got Amazon Prime, I can order it, and sometimes I can get it the same day. But some people would argue it's like having to drive somewhere is a pain in the ass. But I still kind of like that whole go out, get in a car, drive somewhere, and physically pick up a game.
Of course it is. Yeah. Nah, I know. So anyway, that was a question by Record and Return. Thank you very much. And next, we've got a question from Ox. Now I think he's actually in the comments. I think he said that he's asking, has anyone else having a real drink or just me? Don't know if
I'll be having a real drink later. Well, just as well, because if I was having a real drink now with all the technical problems we had, I never would have got it.
I should have been the whiskey by now, but
clear head until your obligations are resolved, I say.
Well, at least when we do this again, hopefully, it should be a lot simpler. We now know what we're doing. Right, Ox is asking, what games and gaming experiences pissed you off the most? I'll go first, since I've kind of flung you in at the deep end. What games and gaming experiences pissed you off? You can go as well. I'm actually trying to think here.
It's funny because I can see myself rage quitting and shouting at a screen, but I'm trying to pin it down to a game.
It's actually really difficult when you're put in the spot when you're doing these live things. You're like, shit, I can't think of anything. I mean, it's not. I've not been pissed off, and you might get upset with this one, but one console that I have no love for at all is the Nintendo 64. Don't know why. I bought one on release. I've got Mario 64, which is just an absolutely phenomenal game. I bought.
Here's the opposite, which is you've got no love for the console, and I really like the console, and I don't. I'm going to get hate for this, but I must be the only person in the world who doesn't like Mario 64.
Really? Yeah.
No doubt, it's an amazing technical achievement, and it's an amazing game. But I just play it and just think, nah.
Dull. Yeah. But yeah, I got what was the game? I got Mario Kart for Mario Kart 64, and I thought that was quite a poor game compared to the other ones. It's probably the kind of the poorest selection, I think, out of all the Mario Karts.
I wonder if people would have a better sort of, though, even though loads of people love it, I know that, but I wonder if people would have a higher estimation of the machine if it just had not better visuals, because it's a pretty competent machine, but it just gave it a good output, because it just looked like it went to Vaseline Town on the screen. I mean, I know you can mod it now and stuff, RGB it.
Really? Aye.
Yeah, to me that was just like, what were you doing, Nintendo? Back in the day, releasing that with such poor output.
Yeah.
I just looked at what game and I completed it, but it made me rage quit and then immediately come back more than anything else. Anyone else out there play the Skate series?
Skate series. What was that called, Dave?
Skate.
That was actually called.
Skate 1, 2, and 3. They should make a new one. I had the amazing controls where you used the dual analog sticks to one represent the front of the board, one represent the back of the board. And then there was an amazing version, which I love, on the Wii, original Wii, called Skate It, because it had flick it controls. And it's one of the few examples where motion controls were implemented from the floor up for the game. And so you would ollie and stuff by doing all kinds of weird stuff with the Wiimote. But there were achievements, because you could hurt yourself, and every time you hurt yourself, a bone would break in your body, and it would show it, and you would get an achievement. And there were all these achievements, and they were like, I don't know, there must have been 150 different ways to hurt yourself. And there was one which was you had to break every single bone in your body, and that was the only achievement I didn't have. And I just got, I was like skating to the top of car parks and then jumping off between scaffolding so I could bounce all the way down, and hitting the floor as a broken mess, but broke every single bone in my body bar one. That was the one that pissed me off the most, because I love that game, but I don't really care about it now, but back in the day on the 360, I was obsessed with achievements. And I just wanted that achievement for breaking every single bone in my body on skate. And I think I must have sat there for hours, not even playing the game, just constantly skating up to the top of a multi-story car park, laying myself off, and then shouting at the TV. It was like, are you kidding me? Every bone but one bone. And then each time it would be every bone but one bone, but never the same one. That used to make me rage quit like a bastard. But
I've got a mate who lives in Australia, and he's I don't know how many. I've never known anybody to actually complete. He like 100% every single game. He's a complete obsessive when it comes. In fact, are achievements still a thing in modern games? Are they still as big? Are they?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not obsessed with them now, because people look at my gamer score when I'm live and stuff, and they're like, your gamer score's crap. And I just went, I got it out of my system in the previous generation. I'm not obsessed with, achievements anymore. I just get the routine ones as you go you play from point A to point B. I don't know. I think if I went back to it, I just end up wasting my entire life again, Hey, I'm off work for 2 days. And then before you know it, you're back to work and your time's just pissed by because you've been obsessed with achievements.
What did you do in your weekend? Well, I got 100% in Skate 5.
What did you do? I went outside like everyone else.
I mean, it's just ridiculous achievements. We're moving into my new house. I've taken out this health insurance thing called Vitality. And it basically encourages you. It's basically if you keep active, you've got an app that records the number of steps you've taken, all that bullshit. And apparently you can earn like free Starbucks coffee, and you get a free iPhone watch and all this kind of shit. And it's like you walk downstairs, achievement unlocked. First 10 steps. It's like bloody unlockables and all these things now. A lot of bloody bollocks. But
and it's an app on your phone, is it?
It is, it's called Vitality.
You need to put your phone on your dog.
I've already thought about that one. That would be, and then just let it go out for a couple of hours, and put it in the car. Even that's a thought. And get 2 iPhones.
The kids down the street. Here you go. Here's a $5. Take it out with you for the day.
Sorry, I'm just looking at the comments. Kev down the rabbit hole. How you doing, Kev? Glad to see you tuning in. He said that he played Skate on the Wii. So what was the first console that came out in, Dave? Was it PlayStation?
It came out. I think it came out on the 360 and the PlayStation 3.
Ah, right. Okay.
The Wii one's really good because it's got a great sense of humor, because it's actually not like a port for the PlayStation 2 because it never came out on it. And they made the game for the Wii because it can't have like a full open city with all the people walking around that are in the 360 PlayStation 1. They set it in the same city after an earthquake, and you've gone back there. So that's why there's no one else in the city whatsoever.
Nothing to do with the fact that they couldn't actually program people, but brilliant, eh? Just a complete off the record, changing subject here. I noticed, I watched a video, is it Forza 4, Forza 5? And I was watching a video and I thought, I have never seen such a more realistic looking game in all my life. I actually had to do a double take think. In fact, there's a video on YouTube and it's got side by side, like there's a big monument in Edinburgh called Scott Monument. And you see that, from Princess Street looking at Scott Monument, it's got Forza 4 real life. And the only way you can tell the difference is you see people walking by. It's like, wow. I'm not a big fan of driving cars. I'm not a big fan of like driving games, but this just looks phenomenal, and I might get it just because you can drive about Edinburgh.
I absolutely love the Forza series. Apart from 2 things. One, I hate the whole drivatar thing they introduced.
Drivatar, what's that?
Basically, it works out when you play it. It works out like an average of your ability, and then it makes a virtual you that goes out there. So there's a you out there in internet land. People rate stuff, I guess, if they're in your friend list and shit like that, which is all well and good, but I'm one of those people which is, well, if I'm not playing it, I know this sounds silly, I don't want me out there. and it's not a true reflection of me. If that makes sense. It's an average of my stuff. It's not
right, got you.
An actual individual player as such. And I just don't. I know that might just be me. I don't like it. The other one I don't like is they built this series and it's amazing, and then now the current one is it's online. It's online only.
Really?
Like,
is that right?
you made it look that beautiful a game, and the other three, have proper single player campaigns. Well, it has a single player campaign, but it's one of those single player campaigns you can only play online. And I'm like, I just don't like that, because it's another example of when that console's obsolete, then you haven't got a game anymore. You've just got a nice paperweight.
Yeah, I know Dean, who's also got a great channel. He's deadly against online gaming, and I do understand that. Yeah, that's pretty shitty. So even though it's a single player campaign, you must be online to play it.
Yeah, well, it's a single player campaign as in you play it online. So it's not really a single player campaign, but it calls itself that, if you know what I mean. It's an online single player campaign, and it's just I don't like that. To me, and I'm not against online gaming or anything, but to me, online gaming should be like, I don't know, like the special features of a DVD, like the bonus. It's something else to extend the longevity or the experience of the game, but it should never be the expense of the actual game. To me, gaming should always be written as in, here's an idea, I'm going to make this game, build it from the ground up. Right, that's brilliant. Before we make it live, how can we make that something that you can play online, but never at the expense of a single player campaign? Maybe that's
yeah. Now, there's been games in the past that I've played that are like purely online, and you're thinking to yourself, why does this have to be online? You know what I mean? There's a game. What the bloody hell was it? In fact, it was Grand Theft Auto 5 on Steam. I got it for like $5, and you've got to like be online to play it. And I couldn't actually physically create. You had to create some kind of membership thing. And I couldn't physically get it working, and I've not played it because I can't log into this thing. I just want to play the game, and I can't because I can't physically log in. Why does it?
Part of me does wonder why that. When people just say, some people just say this whole retro thing. A lot of it's people jumping on the bandwagon. I don't know. I think it might be a lot of it. The fact that it's grown bigger every day. Maybe some people are just becoming disillusioned with modern gaming and just go, do you know what? Bollocks to this. I'm going back to that because here's my cartridge. In it goes. There's a game. There's no pissing around. There's no setting up. There's no I have to play this online. It's just I miss those days.
Well, that's
just sack all modern technology and just go back to rubber mat 48K spectrums.
Well, for example, my daughter, she's staying with me tonight, so she was going to be in the games room playing some Japanese manga type thing. And I said, well, look, I'm doing a live stream with Dave, so you'll need to go downstairs. So she's downstairs on my other PlayStation, and she's like, oh, it's a 60 gig download. I'm like, well, you'll not be playing that tonight then. Even with the disc, you've still got to bloody download the thing. You know what I mean? What's that all about?
See, this is something that's slightly worrying. So I just bought an external hard drive for my Xbox, and so I just went out of my way to install everything on it. And I just thought I'm going to do it now because I know we've probably got 18 months of this generation left, and even then, like the online side of it won't be taken down immediately. But this is, probably the last real physical media generation.
Yeah.
And but even though it is a fully realized single player campaign, and loads of it is, and you don't have to play it online, it still says on the front, internet required. And I thought it was bad on the previous generation, but it's the fact that oh wait, yeah, I got to install it. I'll go and bake a cake or something because it's going to take an hour and a half. Because not only is it going to install it, it's going to download a massive patch before it does it. So I just thought, I'm just going to fire everything onto my hard drive and make sure it's all up to date, because at some point, where this generation is the first real generation of this being a problem, is once the servers go down for it. I know that's years away, but once the servers go down for it, there's a whole bunch of games, even though they're completely single player campaign, you're not going to be able to use, because the first thing you have to do when you stick it in is patch it. And not like they were on the 360 and PlayStation 3 where they were just a bit broken, as in you physically won't be able to play them because the patches won't be there. And that's a bit shocking. You could almost argue, I wonder there's like a trade description acting against that, which is ultimately you're buying something that is... It's like, I think it was on Guru Larry's channel, which is the Tony Hawk game on this generation. They were about to lose the rights to Tony Hawk, so they had to get something out by a specific cutoff point. or they wouldn't be able to use his name. So in order to do that, basically, the disc, the game, is just the tutorial. That's all it is. And when you stick it in, you download the whole game, and that is shocking.
I know.
It's like when I bought Advanced Warfare, not Advanced Warfare, whatever the Call of Duty before World War II was, and I just bought it because it was a tenner in cash converters, and I thought, oh, I'll buy that because it's the one when you get Modern Warfare remastered with it. And it was, when I realized when I did it, oh wait, no, you don't actually get it with it, do you? You just get, basically the disc lets you download it. And I remember thinking to myself when it was downloading, wow, that's awesome. It says bonus free game. It's not a free game. You just made me sit here and download a 70 gig game. 70 gig. Just stick it on a disc and stick it with it.
Yeah, yeah. What kind of capacity do these modern discs hold now?
It was Blu-ray, isn't it? Well, I don't know. What is the capacity of Blu-ray? What is a DVD? Is a DVD like 3 gig or something? I don't know.
I don't know.
I do remember when DVDs came out in 1998 when they were, and I actually got one. In those days, it was cheaper to get a DVD drive and stick it in your PC than it was to buy a standalone.
That's right.
DVD player. I remember my first one had a Pioneer 6-speed, and it came with the Blade Runner game, the point-and-click Blade Runner game on the PC as a bonus. But I just remember it buying getting the Matrix on, just going, "Oh my god, this is the most amazing format! Look how much better it is than VHS. This will never be topped." And now DVD's pretty much obsolete. And then Blu-ray's almost gone out the back door because now we got 4K. Now we're going to have 8K. Now we're just going to plug something in the back of our heads.
I'm just looking at Retro Genius is telling us 80 gig apparently.
80 gig.
Well, Colin's saying 25 gig for memory. And I got yeah. What is that? Sorry.
The previous one was like a single layer and dual layer.
Well, Colin's saying 25 gig per layer, 50 gig dual layer. So it's about 50 gig we're looking at.
What's a 4K then?
Blu-ray was that 25 gig, but you can get BDXL at 120 gig.
Oh my god! Hard driving a disc.
You know what? I always get extremely knocked sideways with technology, but the one thing that just absolutely blows my mind is getting like a 64 gig memory card smaller than my fingernail.
Yes.
How can 64 gig fit in that tiny little bit of metal? How does that work?
It's funny because that was when they announced that the Switch was going to be cartridge.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, "Oh, what? No! How are you going to do this? How are you going to do that?" And it's like everyone completely forgot that a massive amount of storage device in a cartridge form had been around for years, like micro SDs and stuff like that. So I remember thinking when they announced that the Switch was going to be cartridge only, and everyone was like, "Oh, that's stupid! How are you going to do this?" And like, exactly like you do on your phone. You know, we've had this amazing instant access, streamlined hard storage for years.
Yeah, one of the things that used to blow my mind is one of the sort of videos that I make. I read old magazines. I just basically read and talk shite as I do. And there was a magazine from 1983, I think it was, and they were advertising there was a PC hard disk, and it was 30 meg hard disk, and it was £3,000. So £3,000 for a 30 meg hard disk. And if you actually worked it out, a 1 terabyte drive would cost something like 35 million quid. If you based it on that, 30 meg was £3,000. So if you divide 1 terabyte by 30 meg and multiply it by £3,000, a 1 terabyte drive was like 25 million quid. Just insane.
I remember my first PC in 1999. I had a Voodoo 3, and I remember thinking at the time, how am I ever going to fill this up? Because it had a whopping 8 gig hard drive.
Well, I was downloading. I was downloading something. I'm in this sort of games type forum thing. It's great. You've got all these ROMs and that, and it was downloading at like 20 meg a second, and I'm thinking, in half a second, it's downloaded Doom.
Yeah,
it's like wow. But are games 35 million times better? I don't think so.
Well, here's one that's going to really scare you. Your average thumbnail icon, like think, your thumbnail for YouTube.
Yeah.
is bigger than your standard ZX Spectrum or Commodore 64 game.
Aye. That's absolutely phenomenal. When you hear people like programming, I did a video. It was I saw a screenshot of it, and I thought that looks like a really cool pole position game for the Spectrum. I thought that looks awesome. And I downloaded it and I did a video, and then apparently it was only like 4K or something, and it was like super impressive. You know, I mean, obviously it was really back then. Memory was very tight. They knew the constraints had to work in. And what they could, you know, they were getting bloody chess games on like 1K ZX81s. I mean, seriously.
The one that blows your mind, if you stop to think about what it's actually doing, even though it's incredibly crude by today's standard, is text adventures. Because it's basically, and also the ones where you used to remember you used to type it and then you used to go south, and then the top of the screen would draw in really slowly like that, like The Hobbit. But if you think about it, the fact that it was an interactive world.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me was doing that and doing that on 16K machines and like on, you said, the ZX81 1K machines. It's mind blowing.
Oh, it's just absolutely mental. And now I think, and that's why I think you've maybe spoke about this before as well. Me personally, I mean, I'm very old school. You know, I like all the old arcade games, but I've got a PlayStation 2 there. I've got an Xbox. I still think when I play my PlayStation 2, I still look at this as being like current generation. I'm like, wow. And I think they could have, I'm not saying that modern consoles are better than the PlayStation 2, but I think there's a lot more mileage. I would quite happily still play PlayStation 2 style.
Yeah, I completely agree. I still look at stuff like Metal Gear Solid 2 on the PlayStation 2, and I just think this is phenomenal. And then Gran Turismo on it, I think this is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, have you played?
But having said that, though, the PlayStation 2 will never touch stuff like that again. In the sense that, what did that run for? 11 years?
Aye, something like yeah. And you made that.
I'm one of those people where I think maybe we've been spoiled with the 360 and stuff, and particularly people, you know, of our generation where we were spoiled with Spectrum and Commodores and stuff. But we will never get a game system now that runs longer than 5 years in its active prime. And to me, that's terrible.
Mm-hmm. No,
that's why I didn't get a Switch. That's why I kind of stopped the Nintendo bandwagon, which is, I love my Wii, and the Wii was phenomenally successful. And I actually like the whole idea that they didn't bother to try and compete with PlayStation 3 and 60. They went a whole different route. And but it lasted for 5 years. And then I know the Wii U wasn't a success, but it lasted for 5 years. And I just thought, I'm not buying a Switch because it doesn't matter how successful it is. Nintendo's, and it's not a new thing. If you look at it, GameCube, 5 years, N64, 5 years, SNES, 5 years in its main life. And it's just thought, really? You know what? No, I expect more than 5 years. Like I said, maybe we've been spoiled, but I think a console should last a decade.
Well, you were playing, one of the videos I was watching that you made the other day there was is it Mayhem in Monsterland?
Yeah.
First time I've actually seen that game getting played, and I was like, wow, this is super impressive. It looks like a... What's that?
1993.
I know. I mean, that was, I think you mentioned that people were playing the Spectrum from what, 1982 or something?
The last official game on the Spectrum was 1990. I'm not talking like homebrew. It was 1992. I even know this one, and it was Nigel Mansell's Grand Prix.
Really? Yeah.
The system went out on a tash.
But yeah, no, I tend to think that instead of, I mean, you know, there's no question when you look at a game. I mean, I've started playing Last of Us. Have you played The Last of Us?
I haven't. It's one of those things where I'm tempted to pick up a cheap PlayStation 3 just for that.
Can I say, Dave, I don't really play modern games. When I say modern, I mean even like Xbox 360. I class that as modern. I don't really play any of these games at all. I've played through The Last of Us. This will be my third time. I've bought it in the HD, the PS4 version. It's not just a game, it's an experience. It's an absolutely phenomenal game. And it's the one game that my daughter actually sat beside me and just watched me playing it, because it's like watching a film. It's phenomenal. It's got such a good storyline. It introduces characters. There's a lot of like fucking hell moments, you know what I mean? It's an amazing game. If you can get it cheap, go and buy it. It's an absolute phenomenal game.
Might have to hit up one of my brothers. I'm pretty sure one of them's got a PlayStation 3 knocking around.
Yeah, if I got it, I might. I'll have a look. If I've got it, I'll send you it, mate. I'll have a look for it. Do that.
Okay,
So, we've got.
It's also because the PlayStation 3 was difficult to code for, and that's why lots of stuff on the 360 was the superior port or superior version because it was then ported to the PlayStation 3. But isn't The Last of Us, because it was towards the end of its life cycle, one of those games where they finally got their head around? It's like the Saturn in some ways, like the. It took them a while to get their heads around it, but I heard that The Last of Us was one of the games where they actually worked it all out and got their heads around it, and it's supposed to be like one of those ones that looks like early this generation games. It's that good.
I'll be honest, if you showed me both versions, says what one's that, I wouldn't be able to tell you. The two of them just look. I mean, the PlayStation 3 version was just incredible. It's the same.
There is a remaster, isn't there?
What's that?
There is a remaster of it for this generation, isn't there?
I love you.
That's weird, though, saying a remaster for a game that's not even that old.
But
that's one thing I'll say about this generation is I really do think that this generation is going to go down in history as the remaster generation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, tend to agree, mate. Tend to agree. We've got oodles and oodles of questions, but you know what? We'll batter on for go up to the next question, Dave.
Yep.
Sorry, just before we move on, Ox was saying, what games and gaming experiences pissed you off the most? I saw somebody mention when a game gets released and it's bugged. Was it Halo? One of the Halo games, was that not?
Halo.
Was it the one that came out for the PS4? I think it was. No, for the Xbox.
Was it the Master Chief Collection or something?
I think it
the
was.
online stuff for it is.
I think it's. Was that not bugged to hell? I think.
Yeah, I got it, but I just played all the single player stuff on it. I do remember I bought this is cash converters, old cash converters. I've thought, oh look, Halo 5 for a $5. I'll have some of that, and guess I got the better deal. Got home, didn't think anything about it, stuck the disc in, installed it all, patched it, and then just went to play it and just went, this is the Master Chief Collection. Oh, good job, cash converters. Do you not even check what you put? I guess it's one of those people who aren't a gamer, and they just went, it says Halo on it, it says Halo on the box, boom.
I actually bought a game for, I think it was cash converters, and I got home and fucking disco was even in the box. Twat. And I didn't even take it back. I think it was like £1 or something, but that's £1 I'll never get back again. Anyway, thanks for the question. Ox, right, Kevin, down the rabbit hole has got a few questions. Excuse me. I heard Steve Benway mention that due to a bad experience associated with Battlezone, he's sometimes reluctant to play it. Do you have any negative associations with any games that deter you?
What was the game? Because I loved the original one, and then the second one was almost a beta for Battlefield, and it was bugged to crap. Medal of Honor Warfighter.
No aware of that one.
That was it's a modern combat game, but it's but it's the Medal of Honor franchise. But that was even patched. That was, and I just wanted to get through. This is like I said, the previous generation achievements. That was so unbelievably broken that I just remember I glitched through an entire wall at one point. And that's single player. That's not online. Walked straight through a wall, and then there was the sniper bit, which was so. And everyone online was complaining about this bit. I think it was worse on the PlayStation 3. It was so unbelievably broken that I actually got so used to how crap it was working out. And it wasn't like curvature of the earth or wind or anything like that. It was just broken. I actually worked out how to headshot people by missing them. That's how crap it was. It was like, right, well, there's his head, so I'm going to up 2 inches and 2 inches to the right. Bang, and it would headshot him, and it was like, that's commitment. Working out how that game was so. Even after a couple patches, it was a shocker that they released it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible. Yeah, that game was but just that sniper level, because I must have spent an hour on it because I was playing it for the achievements on the top difficulty level. It's just like, how dare you release this? It cost me 35 quid, and it's just broken to shit.
Funny, just you're talking about that, and something I was thinking about recently. I don't know why. If you bought a pair of shoes, or you bought a microwave oven, and it didn't work, you would take it back, and there wouldn't be any. You would get your money back, no question. But I don't think I ever bought a game to discover it was shit and then take it back. I just thought, oh fuck, that's £10 I'll never get back again. I mean,
it does make you wonder what the grey area is, though, for that, which is all other stuff is protected by all this consumer law. Yet the one thing you're allowed to release that's not finished is games.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no guarantee on a game.
So no headlight. Oh,
yeah.
Until next week.
Yeah, I remember the most ridiculous customer service I ever had. It was Dixon's. I bought, what was it called? PGA Golf for the PC. Got it home, wouldn't work, disc error. Took it back, said to the guy, bought this, mate, doesn't work. Can I get another one? All right, hang on a second. I'll need to check it first. I says, no, it doesn't work. It's got a disc error. No, but I need to check it. I says, why are you checking it? Because I won't. If it worked, I wouldn't bring it back. I want the same game. So why are you going to check it? No, because I've got to check it doesn't work. I says, but I want the same game. So do you think I'd bring back a perfectly working copy of a game? Like, twat. And he just fucking.
If I was going to pirate it, why would I be asking for the same game?
Like, what? Seriously. Anyway, let's batter on. We've done 4 questions. I think I've got about 15 million here, right? That was the second part of, so that was the first part of Kev's questions. Secondly, this is quite a good one. What is the oldest game you still play regularly?
Ooh.
Oldest game. Presumably, Kevin, you're talking about arcades, Spectrums, whatever. I think for me, it's probably going to be an arcade game, something like, I don't know, Berserk. I mean, I think that was 1982.
I can tell you. And it's a Spectrum game, but also it's on my phone and stuff like that. Do you know what? Because it's just a testament to how good it is. I think the oldest game I still play is Jetpack, and that's 1983.
Yeah, that 1983 was it? That's a cracking game.
There's a new version of it, isn't there? On sorry, my dog's going mental because the wind's going mental and my bin is moving around my front garden. Has it moved away from your car? Did you go and move it? No, it's moved away from my car, but the other bin, the recycle bin's now taken its place. They're tag teaming. But right, doggy, hang on. I just for our lovely viewers. Rat Boy, the one and only Rat Boy. I would pick mine up. My 2 are lying on the couch there. One of them's actually lying in his back. There's a great. Well, it's not even new now. It's on the 360, but there's an Xbox Live remaster, or no, reimagining of Jetpack. Plays the same, but
aye. Was it I was going to say Retro Unlimited. Was it not called Jetpack Reunited or something? I think it's called.
I can't remember what it is.
Actually, pretty good. Yeah,
it's on the
Xbox Live. It was, wasn't it?
I think it's on the Rare Replay collection. Aye,
actually, you're right. You're right. So can you play infinitely on Jetpack? Or
I just think Jetpack, and that's a 16K game as well.
What is it?
It's that's just a testament to the best games are that it's a simple idea.
Aye.
It's funny because we talk about the Last of Us being this amazing experience, and it's the complete opposite. And it's an amazing experience because it's so technical and everything like that. Whereas you got Jetpack, which is an amazing experience, will never get old because it simply is. Pick up 3 parts of your rocket, fill it up with fuel, go to the next screen. Rinse and repeat.
Absolutely. I know it's like two kind of, you couldn't get further apart, but both awesome games. Yes, I'm going to go for Berserk, and Dave is going for Jetpack.
I have a confession, and I've got it. It's in every main, but I've never played Berserk.
You know what? I don't actually remember why I started playing Berserk. I don't know. I was just noodling through a main one day and I saw it. And I thought, that looks absolutely shit. And I played it. And I thought, it's such a, I mean, it's one of these games you think, oh, this must be easy. How difficult can this be? Shoot a few robots, run out. It's just absolutely fiendish. And it got the hook in me. And I love it to bits. It's a really difficult game, but
I might fire it up after this.
You should. Did you ever play my mate Steve Snake, who wrote Horace and the Robots? Did you ever play that?
No.
Oh, I'll send you.
Is that homebrew? Because is that homebrew? When you say Horace, is it as in Horace?
Horace as in Horace goes skiing, but Steve he knew that I liked Berserk, so he wrote Berserk, but he's got Horace as the main.
I did not play it. I should do because
I'll send it. I'll upload it on my Google Box thing, and I'll send you a link on Facebook, mate. So absolutely brilliant.
Tell you something, and it'll ruin it because you'll never be able to unthink this, and this will ruin it for everyone else out there who grew up with Horace. If you look at Horace, he basically looks like an ass. You'll never unsee that now. He is. He's the top of someone's legs. He's the ass and thighs. You're welcome, everyone.
Got to say though that it is the best. The Horus and the Spiders, Horus and the robots is without a shadow of doubt the best version of Berserk on anything apart from the arcade. Because I think the Spectrum, there's a version, or not a version of that, but there's a version in Berserk on the Commodore 64. But because the C64, each pixel was like, was it 1 high by 2 wide? It just looked shit. But the Spectrum resolution was exactly like what the arcade was. But I'll send you, it's an absolutely amazing. It's even got speech as well. If you've got the colour thing, absolutely brilliant.
Is it as good as the speech in Ghostbusters on the Spectrum?
Yeah,
a brilliant impression of that. It blew my mind as a kid, but it goes. Woof, woof, woof.
You ever play Ghost Hunters? It's
No.
a Scottish guy that does. I think it was Codemaster. The
Codemasters, yeah, I know the game. I've never played it. I didn't know it.
What do you call them? The guys that did Dizzy.
The twins or the Darling brothers?
No, what was it?
Everyone who worked for Codemaster was a brother, apparently.
Aye, what was it? What was the guys that wrote Dizzy?
That is the Darling. Is it? It's the two big people for it were. Is it the Oliver twins who wrote that?
Twins, aye, Oliver twins. Sorry, yeah, they wrote.
Who created Codemasters? I get confused. Like I said, there was some stipulation that if you wanted to work for Codemasters, you had to be a twin or something.
But I think the thing with twins, they wrote Ghostbusters, what's it called again? Ghost Hunters. But they've obviously got this Scottish guy that does the voice. It's actually quite funny. Right, next that was third part. Fourth, Kev is asking, would you watch people play video games on TV like esports or tournaments? Would you actually sit and watch somebody playing?
No, I wouldn't.
I know some of these people do
games all the time, but to me, competitive stuff should be stuff like sports.
Aye.
And that's weird because I'm a gamer. That might be contradicting myself, but it's like, I love gaming and I like playing online and stuff like that. But it's a game, and I don't doubt that it's a big industry and everything. But to me, I don't know. I couldn't. Why would I watch it on TV when I could be playing it?
Mm-hmm. I mean, people watch us playing games, but they watch it for the hilarity content. Yeah.
I think they watch it for the crap that comes out of our mouths.
Pretty much so.
They're my least popular video, but they're my favourite to make because I when I edit them back afterwards, get a laugh at it because you're so in the moment. You don't realise the stuff you're spouting out your mouth until you watch it back afterwards.
Have you ever seen I mean, I know like online games is massive in Japan. I think like Street Fighter 2, or is it Street Fighter 4 or 5, whatever it is. It's like there's professional players, so it must be a thing in America and Japan. People must get paid.
Oh yeah, no, they're like I mean, in Japan they have like sports, not stadiums, sports centers for just set up with everyone competing. Drill it down to the last two people and they go head to head.
Yeah, have you ever seen? There's a video, a famous video on YouTube. The two guys playing Street Fighter 2, and I mean I don't play beat 'em ups because I'm rubbish. But this one guy was like Chung Lai, and I don't know who the other person was. And basically, Chung Lai was down to the last like ball hair of like energy. She was literally that from death. And then the other player launched this massive attack, and she just blocked everything. And then she attacked them, and she ended up winning it. And it's like the crowd just went fucking ape shit. Like, wow, this person is an absolute god. And then you see it in slow motion, and it's only when you appreciate that this guy was physically blocking every single thing that was getting flung at him. It's like, there's a lot of skill involved, Oh,
yeah. And it's, some people can play games, some people can. I mean, I know everything can be learned to some degree, but there is also that argument, which is, some people just have, I mean, it's like, why do people in the armed forces, why certain people, like in the special forces and others not? Some people just inherently have better reflexes than other people.
Aye, I'll give you an interesting tale, and I have mentioned this before. I've got a mate, he's Sick Boy, that's his name on the intraweb, and I got to know Andy.
I loved him in Train Spotting.
What's that?
I said I loved him in Train Spotting.
Andy actually hails from London, but I got to know Andy about 20 years ago, and we used to have, Jeff Minter, you've probably heard of Jeff.
Oh, legend.
Lamasoft. Jeff had a forum called Yak Yak, which still goes, but there's not very many people on it. And they used to have a weekly challenge, and people would pick games. So like this week it's Hyper Sports, 1942, and whatever. And you know, we would all take part, and you basically posted your highest score. And say something like 1942, I would get 40,000. Somebody would get 50,000. Somebody would get 60,000. Sick Boy would always win. He would have like 10 million. It was just like boom, boom. In fact, one of the guys,
some games were specifically written for someone's algorithms in their head, isn't it?
Well, I mean, one of the guys that watches my channel, Dave, Charlie F. I think Charlie. I saw him in earlier on. Charlie's actually the Galaxian World Champion. I met Charlie, or I met Dave down at Blackpool last year, and there's Charlie. They're talking actually. Yep. I think you were probably second place to Sick Boy, Dave. Is that right? But anyway, yeah. I mean, Dave is just awesome at games as well. But I went down to. Have you heard the Arcade Club?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I went down there. I met Andy or Sick Boy. I need to keep stop jumping between real names and internet names. I met Sick Boy down there a couple of years ago. Went down, and we got chatting. You know, the day later, and I says, why are you so good at video games? And it's not even that because he used to play arcade games, or you know, I never played arcade games, whereas he played a lot. Even stuff like FIFA, Virtua Tennis, he's just so much better than anybody else. And one of the stories that he told me, he used to write for Games Master magazine, and he got invited along to. I mean, it was like Virtua Tennis on the Dreamcast. He'd never played it before. This was like a big, you know, release night, and all these guys from like official Dreamcast magazine went along, and Andy got invited along because he played for Games Master, and all these guys had been playing this bloody game for like a month, you know, before it got released, and they had a competition, and Andy won it, and he didn't lose a single point, and they were all so pissed off. He'd never played the game in his life, and he's just like. So I said to him, I says, "Why are you so good?" Well, we're sitting in a travel lodge having our breakfast, and I says, Why are you so good at every single game? Even stuff like FIFA. He played me at FIFA, he beat me like 10-0. You know, it's just. And we were sitting talking, and he says, "I'm talking to you just now. If you turn your head, you'll see two guys sitting in that far corner. I can hear what they are saying, and the girl that's sitting on there on her phone, I can hear what she's saying, and I'm also talking to you." He says, "I've just got this awareness, spatial awareness. You can hear kind of multiple things that's going on." And he says it's just something that he's able to do. He says, and he's able to put that into a game. So when he's playing a game like Robotron, he's more aware than maybe you or I. We're just looking at the sprite that you're controlling. He can see it, the sort of bigger picture. So he said that's kind of why he's good at video games. So it's something that he's just got this kind of talent for, you know. But mental.
Get out there and hustle people, I say.
What's that?
Get out there and hustle people, I say. There you go. That's it. That'll happen at one point. You know, this obsession with remaking old movies. They'll remake The Hustler, but it'll be a video game content.
Probably will, actually. Just talking about video game skill, do you think if you were, I'm not saying that you're not, but I'm particularly bad at video games, but if I was good at video games, do you think there's any skill that you could you take that skill into the real world and actually?
I do think, like I said, it's weird. I don't know. Anything that requires amazing reactions. So then it would be, I don't know, maybe the emergency services or stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? If you got blistering reactions like that, then there's a definite application for those.
Air traffic control, possibly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, if the what do you call it? If the Space Invaders arrive at Earth, we'll all be recruited.
Well, I've seen this movie. If the Space Invaders arrive, Kevin James and Adam Sandler save us from them.
One of my mates, Tony Temple, who he's got the world high score record for missile command. I asked him. I had him on it for an interview a couple of years ago, and I said to him, "The fact that you're the best at missile command in the world, can you use these skills at anything else?" He went, "Nah." He's only good at playing this one video game, but he can't use that for anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it looks nice on your CV.
Certainly does. Quite funny because he bought Archer McLean. He bought Archer McLean's missile command cab, and he had it in his living room, and he was just playing it and playing it and playing it and playing it, and eventually got the world's highest score. And he told his wife, and she said, "Good, so can we get this out the living room now?"
Yeah.
I think it's still in actually, but anyway. Right, let's move on. No. Right. Finally, from Kevin, there's old pieces of hardware that makes me not want to buy certain old consoles, such as the 1979 Microvision with its unreliable LCD screen, or old Vectrex monitor arcade games like Tempest, because they are renowned for being a big headache to maintain. The same with pinball machines. And I wonder, is there anything you would not want due to maintenance problems? I suppose, but for me to answer that one, I would say when I moved into my house, I was determined. I thought, I'm going to buy myself an original cabinet. I'm fucking going to do it. I'm going to either get a Berserk or a Galaxian, whatever. And Tony Temple, the guy I was just talking about, and a couple of other guys, he says, listen, Al, he says, you're going to pay the best part of £1,000 for it. He says, so you've got that. It's only one game. So if you get bored of it, you can only play the one game. He says, and thirdly, he says, you've got to be able to maintain it. He says, that is part and parcel of owning arcade games. You've got to be able to, and that, you know, that
technology, isn't it? Well,
what's that?
So analog technology when you.
Aye, you know, so I think you've got to have the knowledge, you know, replacing bloody monitors and PCBs and capacitors and all that kind of stuff. But is there any other bits of hardware, Dave, that you wouldn't buy?
Do you know what? This is why and I know lots of people will just laugh at you for saying it, but this is why I'm not a PC guy anymore. Just a simple fact that
talking about the things, aye.
I just couldn't just gave up with having to constantly update new bits and take it apart and stick stuff in. And I know it's not particularly difficult, but this is why, you know, I can put up with consoles fall behind everything else so quickly, because it's just sheer laziness and convenience. I know it's not an answer to his question. It's not proper old school stuff like that, but that's why I gave up with PCs, which is, oh God, I can't meet the specs on the box anymore. I have to get this, have to get that, take the case off, put this in, oh, stick the software on. Bollocks to that, I'll just buy an Xbox.
Mm-hmm. I think, to be fair, I mean, I don't use my PC for gaming at all, other than when I'm making videos, but I think like Steam has really made things a lot better, isn't it?
Do you know what? I don't even know what Steam looks like.
Really? Do you not play any games at all on your PC?
No. This is it. It's a laptop.
It's a laptop, right? Got you. See, I don't really. Yeah, I mean, well, Steam's basically a piece of software. I think every game that you buy now comes out in Steam, and you just basically click it and it downloads and it just works. You know, so I think PC gaming is a lot more user friendly. So I keep looking down at you and I look up at the camera. I think it is a lot more user friendly than it used to be. But I'm like you. When I buy, if I was to play a game in a PC, you're thinking, am I really getting the full experience? I could, you know, if I got a better graphics card, it would look better. You stick it into PS4, boom, you're getting it as it should be, without all the fanning about.
I think the last PC I owned would have been 2001.
Really? Yeah.
Wait, is it just me? But it's 17 years ago, 2001. But it's one of those things where your brain just doesn't think that 2000, because it was such a big deal before we went clicks over, you know, and the Millennium Bug and all that stuff like that. My brain doesn't think that 2000 was that long ago, and then you stop and think about it, and it's almost bloody 20 years.
It's the fact that I work with guys who were born after the bloody PlayStation came out. That's just not possible. Their first machine was a PS2. What? I still look upon the Mega Drive.
They haven't lived, I say.
Absolutely, you know, that's why guys like ourselves still play old games, because we appreciate it from the very beginning, and that's why I play a PlayStation, an Xbox 360 game, and I'm like, wow, this is mind blowing. You know, but anyway, listen, Kev, thank you very much for your wonderful questions. Next up, we've got Doug Scullery. I think Doug is in the house somewhere. We've got bloody loads of comments here, but we're not actually really looking at any of them. We've got plenty here to begin on with. Right, in light of recent attempts by games companies to protect their older games from being illegally downloaded, how far do you see this going? If more and more older games suddenly have value again as a result of the numerous mini-cell consoles, might retro gamers soon have to look on the dark web for their ROMs? What's your thoughts about companies like Nintendo protecting their
It's that grey area, isn't it? Which is, it's theirs. They're allowed to because they wrote it, but then at the same time, there wouldn't be a mini NES and there wouldn't be a mini SNES if it wasn't for the interest that was generated in these old systems because of retro gamers and people having pies and downloading the ROMs. So kind of double-edged sword. It's theirs to protect because they wrote it, but if it wasn't for us, then they never would have got to make a mini NES because there would have been no interest in it whatsoever. So it's, I don't know. If people are making money out of it, I understand them going after them. But if it's just people slapping it on a Raspberry Pi just to play, and it's a 25-year-old game, I don't know. I think turn a blind eye, Nintendo. But then the thing about that is, for everyone who does download it from one of these sites, I was gutted when Emu Paradise took all their stuff down, by the way.
Yeah,
but I was gutted because it was my ZX Spectrum resource of choice. But yeah, it's for every one of us who just downloads them to play for fun. There are obviously people who download them and, because it's not supposed to, but you can even find pies from preloaded games on Amazon now.
Yeah. And I've got a big bone of contention against these guys. In fact, I think that's one of the questions that Doug, that's quite scary, actually. The very, very next question, Doug's saying, now talking about me here, you were recently very critical of the people flogging RetroPie units with tons of games included, yet back in the day you yourself were happy to buy your copied games from the same sort of people on the market stalls. What's the difference? Yeah, you know what, that's a fair point, Doug.
Our dark, see, this is it. Our dark web back in the day was going to,
sales or whatever, yeah.
I remember there's a hospital downtown, Southmead Hospital, and it was notorious in the early 2000s. It was, you go there every Saturday morning for this market, and you bump into pretty much everyone from your circle of friends who owned a computer, a console, who would like to watch movies, because everyone knew that Southmead Market, 5 PlayStation games for a tenner, and everyone, and movies as well. They were cams, but yeah, that basically was our dark web, wasn't it?
Aye. I don't.
£1.50 to park.
I mean, that was my life for about. I always remember I got my Amiga, and one of my mates says it was a big open air market and just outside Edinburgh. I think it was the biggest one in Europe. He says there's a guy selling Amiga games for a £5. I'm like, what? Steady, because we used to buy one game a month between us. So suddenly we had this, sweetie shop of Amiga games. And yeah, I probably spent an absolute fortune over maybe 2-3 years. And yeah, I was
in the copyright industry, spent all that money on a snappy logo and everything, and you ignored it. Remember, don't copy that floppy.
But I mean, I lined the pot. I would hate to actually think of how much I spent on copied games. So yeah, that wasn't right. I mean, I was giving money to these guys. Where I get a wee bit uneasy now, maybe yeah, I was a lot younger back then and I was a bit more naive, and I did copy games. I don't copy games now, I'm older, I'm wiser, I've got a wee bit more disposable income. The fact that games are cheaper now anyway. But what I think really annoys me with these retro pies and people selling them is, the whole concept of the Raspberry Pis was it was an affordable PC for not a lot of money. And I don't know if it's a charity thing, whatever it is, but they were put out there to give people the chance to kind of build, school kids to build things with PCs. So that's that. So the actual unit yourself, you've got the Pi, you've got the PSU, you've got your SD card. Maybe costs about 30-40 quid. I have a few mates who actually are part of the development team for Raspberry Pi. All these guys do this completely free. They don't charge. I mean, Raspberry Pi, I don't know if you've got one yourself, Dave. It's a brilliant thing. I mean, you download the SD-ROM image thing, burn it on an SD card, plug it in, poof, away you go. I just don't like. These guys are putting out the software completely free. It's it's open source, and there's guys on Facebook selling them for. They're not selling them for 30-40 quid or 50 quid or even 60 quid. They're selling them for starter edition, 99.99. Premium one, 150 quid. With PC games, it'll be whatever, 200 quid. They're making serious amount of money off stuff that is available for free. People put it out for free. I mean, my mate Steve Snake, the guy that wrote, that did Horus and the Spy and the Robots, he actually, I commented on the Facebook. I said, can you tell me before I order one, mate? I says, can you confirm that all these ROMs that you've got are all legitimate copies? You've got the authority to sell them. He says, yeah, my lawyers told me that I can sell them. I've got, the authority. So my mate jumped on, and he's run quite a lot of games. He did like NBA Jam in the SNES. He did Rodland in the what do you call it, on the Commodore 64. So he posted, he says, can you tell me, have you got Rodland for the C64? And the guy's like, yeah. He goes, well, funny, you didn't ask me for permission because I wrote the game. It's like, block. When you actually Google it, the guy that's selling them lives in a bloody flat somewhere. You know what I mean? He must be. If you go into the Facebook page, you must see maybe, I don't know, 20, 30 people saying like, "Oh, look at this! This is brilliant! This is brilliant!" This guy must be making thousands, absolutely thousands of pounds out of something.
The interesting side on that, though, is, well, that's a business then. So what about tax?
Aye. Yeah,
riding off, milking, basically making a living and milking every other people's work.
Aye, that's exactly
what he is.
Aye, and yeah, I mean, Doug's quite right. I did exactly the same. I gave all these pirates money, and maybe don't get me wrong, £199 for something. Not everybody is geeky like us. Not everybody can go out and build a Raspberry Pi. If you said to somebody, "Do you want this system?" You plug in your TV, you switch on all these games. Brilliant. How much? £100. There you go. I'll have two. You know what I mean? So there's a market out there, but I think maybe because I've got mates who are programmers and who work in that kind of thing. It just annoys me that these guys are making shitloads of money for minimum effort. They burn an image on an SD card, stick it in a jiffy bag, and that's £199, please. Maybe if they gave back or donated to charity or something, but I suppose we could be here all day talking about like counterfeit clothes and all that. There's always going to be people that are willing to buy it. So
basically, drugs in digital form.
That's exactly it. But yeah, you're right, quite right, Doug. I was a naughty boy, but I've learned my lesson. Next up, we've got Panther UK. Chris, I recently bought a box of 57 Xbox 360 games for £40. That's not bad. 57 games. And how many of these were wrestling games in FIFA, I wonder? Well, I actually bought one of my mates sold me, he had about 30 PS2 games. He says, a tenner, when I'll take them. And I think
it was one of your waffles, wasn't it? And yeah, and three quarters of them were FIFA games.
Like, what? I was done. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I recently bought a box of 57 Xbox 360 games for £40. Of all the ones I've tried so far, pretty much every single one, after it's got to the title screen, took about 10 minutes to actually start playing after going through all the press this button and cutscene bollocks. Whatever bloody happened to press start and the game starts?
Yeah.
Wire. Yeah, that's true. I know. And are you into these kind of games? I know you mentioned one game that's meant to be really good, but it put me off because of the cutscenes, was Metal Gear Solid. Was that not?
That's one of the few games, I think, though, because at the time it was groundbreaking, because it does all, and I don't know, this appealed to me on the PlayStation, because Metal Gear is my favorite, the original was my favorite game of all time.
Yeah.
It's, the cutscenes are done with the game engine, and the game engine is that good. And I actually really liked it because it was new at the time, but then you get to Metal Gear Solid 4, and it's basically, you'll have a blister at the end on your thumb at the end of that gaming experience, because that's all you do is, well, actually, no, you won't, because you press it and then your cutscene will go off, and then you won't get to play another chunk of game in some cases for 15 minutes. But no, he's right. What did ever happen to? I mean, I'm all for progressive storytelling, but
yeah.
Hey, give me 5 minutes of a cutscene between levels. That's fine, but not when you go through. When it's got too much, when it like you've completed some other games in your gaming history that in the time that it takes you to go through one level of one of these games, because it's constantly going, story. But yeah, he's right. What did ever happen to, press start?
Yeah, I mean, some of these
back in the day, I used to get annoyed with. What do you mean I got to define keys? 13 seconds of my life I'm never getting back.
I bought, what was it? Was it Mario Golf on the Game Boy Advance? Because I loved the original Golf on the Game Boy. Brilliant game. So I thought this will be excellent. Game Boy Advance version, really good game. and it starts off as it's like Final Fantasy. It's a fucking adventure game. Like, fuck off, talking to people. I'm like, I just want to play golf. I just want to play the game. And you press that, and you start reading the text, and it's like, oh, bollocks, eight. And then you walk down, and then another bit. And I don't think I actually ever got to a point where I was actually playing the game. I goes, oh.
But then there's one where you can't even skip it.
Aye.
Those are games I will walk away from and just say, do you know what? No, I'm not doing that. You can put all you want in it, but if I can't skip it, then...
Aye. Don't know. It's like some of these games. I mean, some of the driving games, whatever you play, are, you crash and you're going to restart. It's got to reload the level. I never understand why they can't just start again. I don't know.
That's why I love Forza, though, because you got the rewind feature.
Ah, right, yeah.
And everyone says, isn't that cheating? And I always say, well, why, if you're doing like a 15-lap race, why should you be doing really well and you make one tiny mistake right at the end and then you forfeit the whole race? No, mind you, I haven't said that. It's not that much of a get out of jail free card, because I've been so close to getting the perfect race so many times and cocking it up at one point that I've had to rewind like 15 times and actually really make the effort not to like cock up in the same place. But no, that's why I like Forza, because it does give the option.
That's what I love it. Have you got a SNES Mini or an NES Mini, Benny?
I got SNES Mini.
Oh, have you? Yeah, I've got the same one. I love the fact that you can rewind.
Yeah,
brilliant. That's a really good use of new technology making newer games better. In fact, Ashen's actually made a point when we're talking about the N64. He was, I can't remember what he was asked, but he basically said that the problem, in fact, somebody said to him, what mini blah would you like to see? And he said, I'd love to see a mini N64. He says, because an original N64 looks shit on a modern TV and the emulation is shit. So it's kind of unplayable at the moment.
The only thing I'm thinking, because obviously it's coming out because Nintendo renewed the patent for it, haven't they? So, but like with the NES Mini and the SNES Mini and the pads and stuff, they're really, really simple pads. What's the cost going to be on a N64 Mini? Because then you start getting into, analog pads and those big ass Trident things. It's it's almost getting away from what a Mini is, if you know what I mean. Because then you got really complicated pads to duplicate, and so
I was not a big fan of it.
I have already pre-ordered my PlayStation Mini.
Have you?
Yeah,
getting that through Amazon. When's it actually coming out?
December the 3rd.
All right. And that is it. Have they announced what games are going to be on it?
They've announced 5. I couldn't see. The thing is with it is I couldn't help myself. It was announced, and I just and then I saw the Monkey Spaz purchase one, and I just thought, if he's getting one, I'm getting one.
There's a beer shit in the woods.
Yeah, it's just that weird retro thing in you, isn't it? Which is, I don't need it. I can't justify it. I've got a PlayStation 1. I've got a PlayStation 2. There's no need for me to have this whatsoever. But it's a PlayStation Mini, and it looks so friggin' cool. And that was it. That's all that. See, you can argue that. And I'm not a serious gamer, but serious collector. I'm not a casual gamer. Yeah. I'm probably the one person that's not aimed at. But it was like crack, and I had to have it.
Aye. That was like me. Somebody said to me, "Are you going to buy one?" I goes, "I'm not a big fan of the PlayStation, so of course I'm going to buy one."
Yeah.
Why would I not? Anyway, listen, Kev, thanks for your... Oh, sorry, we've moved on for Kevin. Sorry, we're talking about... we've answered that one. About the 40 quid. Sorry, the 40 quid for 57 Xbox games. Yeah, talking about how long it takes to... Yeah, that is a pain in the arse. Next one, we've got Wee Bob. In terms of things that I would like you to talk about, I'm about to issue a new video that I think you might find interesting, and I would like some feedback if possible, and brutal if be on what your opinions of it are. I did actually watch your video, Bob. Bob is absolutely an awesome artist. Have you watched any of his videos at all, Dave?
Watched a couple. I will watch this one for sure.
He's amazing, absolutely amazing at drawing. I wish I could have some kind of talent like that. Yeah, he did one where he was drawing Way of the Exploding Fist, and it's kind of like he kind of speeds it up, like, but just absolutely phenomenal. Really, really talented guy, Bob. So yeah, you should keep up with stuff like that. Next up, Retrohawk Scott. For Dave, what does he think of live gaming streams And is it something he would consider doing? Well, I can answer that after tonight. He'll definitely not be doing it.
Said to Alan behind the scenes, this is why I don't live stream. I like them. I like watching them. But the thing is, I wouldn't do them myself. And also because where I am, I don't have bulletproof internet. I don't have bulletproof technology. If anything, you could say that I don't have a problem with them. I'd like to do them, but I'm kind of restrained by
technology. Yeah. But
I mean, we only just got fiber. I mean, before that, my internet came down the bloody phone lines. And so it was high speed, but it was coming down copper. And it's like, I'm amazed as well from where I am. Because if you go back through like really, really early videos of mine and stuff, what was it? I came up with people say, hey, what's your internet running like? And I said, my internet runs on, what's it? Coal and donkey piss. It's that prehistoric. And it's like this bloody storm out here now. I'm amazed my internet's not dropped because it's fiber. I don't know how it works now. It's fiber optics, but it's still something to do with the phone lines. And yeah, so I'd love to do it, but my hands are tied by the reliability of, well, the infrastructure of technology around me.
Yeah. I've got to say, it's been flawless tonight. A couple of times you've
said that out loud, Touchwood.
So yeah, no plans.
Flawless.
Was that
link?
So no plans to do any.
No, I would like. I never say never. I would like to do it, but
you've never done it before, then, Dave. You've never done a live stream before, then, apart from when you were doing like with Retro and Lim.
Yeah, I've done. Well, I've not done a gaming streaming and stuff, but I've done a few podcasts. I've got one that's kind of on the back burner at the moment. I do with a guy called Sean Michelin from Canada, and it's called Cents and Pence. But then even that was kind of well, that's the weird thing that was reliant on, like, as you know, like trying to catch up with each other at the same time. It's difficult trying to catch up with someone at the same time when they're in a completely different time zone.
Aye.
It's even more of a pain in the ass. But yeah, never say never. It's something I'd like to do, but I don't know. I got to get the kinks out of my system a lot more, I guess. And then even if I get my systems bulletproof and stuff like that and sort my end of it out, like me not ballsing it up, then I'm still reliant on,
Yeah. I mean,
up to the outside of my house.
I've been doing quite a few of them. I know you've tuned in a couple, and they're good fun. I mean, when I first started doing them, a couple of times, there was one I did. I think it was the second one I did. I was talking, and I suddenly became really self-aware, and I ended up saying, "Oh, I'll need to go for a second," and I had to kind of move away from the camera and come back because it suddenly hit me that it's just me here talking, and I'm live, and there's people watching. I'm like, "Fuck." But
it's the videos though, isn't it? Because I mean, you watch someone who does a video and it's pre-recorded, and you think you know them. And I've said this in videos, but as natural as that person can be, you're still not 100% being themselves because they're completely in control of their environment. Once like you say, you flick that switch to live, then it's warts and all. There's no getting away from stuff. There's no edit button. There's no pause.
Yeah, but I mean, they are good fun, definitely good fun. And what's quite funny is when you've actually...
I'll just piggyback off yours from now on.
Well, you're welcome on here anytime, but yeah, it's quite interesting when I do one of my gameplay ones, and even when I'm doing a live Waffle, I kind of come away thinking that I've been chatting to lots of mates, and then it dawns on me that I'm the only one that's actually talking. But it's a bizarre thing. But do you find, just obviously you've been doing YouTube a wee bit longer myself, do you find, has it given you confidence?
Do you know what? It's given me the ability to speak in front of groups of people, for sure.
Yeah.
And like you said, when you just said it feels like you're talking to people. When you do a video, it's just you talking to the camera. But I don't know about you, but when you look at the camera, you can kind of see, or you are aware that there are people behind it. You can't see them, but you never actually feel. Like I said, you're in control because you can edit and stuff like that. But you never actually feel that you're talking to no one. If that makes sense. You are aware that there's an audience behind it, and that's given me confidence. I can talk in front of big groups of people. It's given me ability to articulate better and stuff like that. So all those good times when you'll make your boss look like a twat. Let me just stop you there for a moment, sir.
Yeah, but good question there, Scott. And the second was, are either of you attending Play Blackpool this year? I don't think you don't really go to these events, Davey. You're too.
Well, I'm screwed now because I work weekends. So.
Right. Have you ever been to any events?
Nah. I wouldn't. It's not like I don't want to go. It's always just, I don't know, life gets in the way and stuff like that. And now I'm completely screwed because I work weekends. Although I got my birthday weekend off, and there is it's not quite the same thing, but there's a comic convention in Bristol, which I will definitely be attending.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, I've been to quite a few of them. I've been to the Play Blackpool one. I've been to the Glasgow one a couple of times. They're getting a wee bit kind of too samey for my liking.
I think the problem for me is that where I live,
yeah.
I mean, Blackpool would be worse for you, but I don't know. I can't be asked with 4 hours of commute, if you know what I mean.
Well, yeah, for me it's quite a drive, but I usually go down with a couple of mates right enough. But I tend to go, when I go down there, by the time you get down there, it's bloody time to come back again. I tend to go down just to talk to people, but it's good. But it's the same games that get wheeled out time and time again, you know. So I'll not be going to one. So you're not going to the one.
Like I said, I mean, if they were nearer and they weren't on the weekend, which obviously is never going to happen.
Yeah, unfortunately not. So somebody, Seneku Moonjewel is saying Blackpool is a shithole these days.
What, the convention or the actual seaside town?
I think he says Blackpool's a shithole. I remember when I went down there a couple of years ago, I thought it's had a bit of money flung at it. Maybe it's a bit nicer. Maybe it's a wee bit more upper class. And as we drove in and we came welcome to Blackpool, the first thing I saw was a rather large lady dressed as a bride carrying a large inflatable cock. I thought, no, it's still the same. Adam, Amiga Old School. Yeah, hopefully nobody's. Blackpool's actually all right, yeah. Adam, Amiga Old School is asking a question for Dave. What was the very first Spectrum game you played, and what Spectrum was it on? 48K, 16K?
First game, actually, I was going to say the first game is Jetpack, which you could argue is the first game I played. And my dad bought a second-hand 48K rubber mat, still the best one. But the first experience, just because back then, you know, we were really, really young. So what's that? I was 6 or something. Your dad would, you know, take the computer out of the box and you go through the steps you're supposed to go through that, you know, Sir Clive would like you to go through. So the first sort of thing, I guess, gameplay-wise, would have actually been on the Horizon tape, which came with it. Had a picture of the keyboard on the front.
Yeah.
It was basically a knockoff of Breakout.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, so that probably would have been the first Spectrum game. Because I always say Jetpack, but no, I'm pretty sure we must have gone through, because my dad bought it. We would have gone through the Horizon tape.
Yeah, I've got a couple in a couple.
Because it's second hand though, Jetpack was in one of the games that came with it because he bought it second hand off someone.
What? So was that on the 16? Was it 16K, Dave?
No, 48K.
48K.
Yeah, we were classed and we jumped straight in on the 48. None of this 16K and a 32K expansion pack stuff for us.
He's asking me the same question for the Commodore 64. The first ever game I played in the Commodore 64 was a game called Crazy Kong by Interceptor Software, and it was one of the worst. I think it was the second video I've actually put up. It's horrifically bad. It's actually really good fun to play because it's this shit. It's absolutely abysmal. Yeah, that was the very first one I played. This is non-gaming related, I don't think. Music, what's your favourite type of music then and now?
It's never changed for me. It's always been, the exception of mainstream pop music, which is shit. I'm looking at you, Simon Cowell. I've always liked a bit of everything. I mean, my favourite band, and this is a cliche, my favourite band of all time has never really changed. It's always been U2. Problem with that is I friggin' love U2, but I friggin' hate Bono because he's such a contradictive cock. But no, it's a bit of everything. Yeah, like I loved Britpop when it first kicked in, but then I liked those bands before they became sort of the 97 Cool Britannia wave and stuff like that. I love my heavy metal. Hey, and people laugh at this. I absolutely love Elvis Presley.
I'm the same, massive Elvis Presley fan. Brilliant.
And when people say, "Why do you like Elvis Presley?" I just say the name's in the title, kids. The King.
Yeah.
Like Buddy Holly as well. People are kind of like that. Obviously, everyone likes the Beatles, so you don't have to listen to that. But yeah, a bit of absolutely everything, really. I don't know if I pigeonhole myself and say I have a specific taste in music.
Yeah.
Apart from I stand by that I hate pop music, mainly because there's some pop stuff that's kind of nice and cool and everything, but I just hate what pop's become, and that's kind of put a bad taste in my mouth for everything that is there, which is like Simon Cowell. Hey, I've got a TV show. I found someone there. I'm going to rinse the crap out of them for all they're worth for a year. Then they won't be famous anymore, but I've made my millions.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Pop music.
Yeah, totally agree. Do you listen to music that your mum and dad listen to, Dave?
Well, yeah. My dad's probably where I got into it. My dad's a big Buddy Holly fan, and my mum's a massive Elvis Presley fan. So that's probably, thinking about it now, that is obviously where, because they were played when I was a kid, where I got those from. But then, having said that, my dad's a massive classical buff, and I can understand and appreciate how technically wonderful and amazing and talented everyone is involved in that. But I just find it boring as tits.
Yeah. Aye. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that I was talking to a friend about recently. How I like stuff like, I'm a big rock fan. AC/DC are probably my favourite band. I like a lot of the 80s stuff. Howard Jones, kind of grew up Morrill, that kind of stuff, early kind of 80s stuff. I also like listening to John Denver, the Mamas and the Papas, Dean Martin, because that's what my mum and dad listened to. And my daughter, she's constantly got earphones on. She wouldn't have a clue what I like. So she'll never have, when I kick the bucket, whenever that's going to be, she'll never listen to a song and think, oh, that reminds me of my mum and dad, because she's not got that connection. She doesn't know what I like. I think that's quite sad, actually. But
yeah, but then you could also argue that there's an inherent thing in that now, which is people aren't necessarily aware what other people's taste in music is, because of the way we digest it, which is, when we were kids, you would have your own, stereo, or, like a little, do you remember your first MIDI center, the record on the top? You would have that. And so you would play that. And so, but people would be spatially aware of what you're playing. Whereas now music, because of the digital age, you don't really, unless you go out somewhere and it's like in a pub or somewhere where it's supposed to be heard, round about people's houses, you don't really hear it because everyone's plugged into their digital devices.
Yeah.
You could argue that unless you're going somewhere to deliberately listen to music, the last great bastion of where you will hear someone's personal taste in music is in their car.
Mm-hmm. You're right. And that's about the only time I listen to music, actually.
But then I don't see in my car, I don't listen to anything but TalkSport.
Aye, an interesting point. What tape never left your Walkman?
Do you know what? There was a tape that never left my Walkman for 18 months. It's funny to go back to piracy, and I taped it off my mate because he had the original copy. And that was the Lost Boys soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
Probably one of my favorite movie soundtracks of all time. But I remember when I got that and I taped it off a mate, and I wore it out and had to borrow it again and tape it again. That lived in my Walkman for like a year and a half.
Do you ever find that? I used to listen to a lot of like C90s. You tape the radio and all this kind of shit, and there were certain tapes that I would play over and over again. They were completely random songs, and if I hear like, I don't know, see like the Rhythmics, Thorn in My Side, I could instantly think the next song is going to be bloody Rick Astley, Never Going to Give You Up. Just got this association, you know what's coming next.
And something kids, when I want to sound old again, but something kids these days will never truly appreciate: the good old-fashioned mixtape.
Mm-hmm. That's right. There was a mate, a guy, I can't remember how I got to know him. Who did I? In fact, I'll tell you, it was a guy we used to go, you made an absolutely fantastic video a couple of days ago all about camping, or you're in the caravan. And I was actually driving, I was listening to it, and I was laughing out loud at a lot of I can't do it. It just sounds so archaic. You're talking about how you have to go to the toilet block to go for a piss.
Yeah.
The toilet block? Like what? You mean you
can?
The showers, and it was always the concrete and you're bloody freezing cold. And the
blue, I remember. It was always blue concrete. You could just smell all those biscuits they dropped in the pisser.
And the toilets had these kind of wooden sort of, it looked like kind of mini pallets that you stood on. And there was always fucking big spiders as well in the showers. I mean,
how would you do it now? Because you think it's weird, but I'm not saying I'm becoming a rattly old man and I need to piss all the time. But it's like back then it was. How did I manage to hold a piss in all night until well into like 9:30 the next day, and wouldn't even go to the block to relieve myself until after breakfast? I mean, fuck me, I'm lucky if I could make it through the night too now.
That's a prostate though, mate. But you're absolutely right though. You just, yeah. Happy days though. We didn't have a caravan. We had a tent.
You know what? The thumbnail I used for that. That's not my caravan, but that is the actual model caravan we owned. I made a point of it. If you look at the end of it, you got two windows, small windows, one at the top and one at the bottom, and that's because when I said it had two bedrooms, you had a double bed, which is where my parents slept. My twin brothers slept on the table that you would drop down and take the cushions from the back of the chairs and put it over the top like that. And the reason I had two windows is they were bunk beds. The window at the top was for my brother, and the window at the bottom was for me. and you remember, you used to have that door. I should have put this in there. I could talk about that for years. You had a stupid, it was plastic, but it was fake wood looking. And then you had the orange window in the middle that looked like it had coffee cup swirls in it. Do you remember that? And the cushions that were on the two big, they were like bench seats, weren't they? The front camera. The cushions were bright orange. Oh, the 70s. We didn't realise it, but in order to work in the design industry in the 70s, you had to be colourblind.
I mean, that virtually every holiday that we ever went, we used to go down to Essex. There was a place called Roydon down in Essex, and we always went camping. And the holiday probably cost my mum and dad, I don't know what it cost in the 70s, maybe £100 or something. But it was just the most amazing time ever. It was brilliant. Even the going, we would leave Edinburgh and drive down and get to Scotch Corner, and even as a kid, being in a car at 2 o'clock in the morning was this amazing thrill. And you would stop the car in a lay-by, and your mum had made sandwiches. What's that?
It was an adventure.
Brilliant.
It was a holiday.
It was amazing. So
remember that god-awful impending sense of doom you had the day before you had to come back? I don't want it to end. I want it to go on forever.
Sorry, one of the guys, George, who's actually one of my mates who goes to the computer club, asked Dave to set the time on his grandfather clock.
What time is it on? Oh, do you know what? That's because I'm the only person in the house and it's not my job to wind clocks. So it'll be like that until everyone else comes back. Funny thing is, I'm just looking around now because there's one behind there. There's a small one up there. That's wrong. Time on the skybox is wrong. The only thing that's right is this. There you go. That's the digital age as well. I don't own a stereo anymore. I don't even own an alarm clock. I don't own anything other than this is your entire, sad to say, but this is not just your phone or your internet device. This is your clock as well. This is everything. It's
everything. I know. I'm exactly the same. I don't even wear a watch, but because that tells the time.
I have a watch, but I can't wear it out in public because it's incredibly special.
Really?
It's the Back to the Future flux capacitor watch.
Really? You've not got it?
It actually has the flux capacitor in it that lights up, and you tell the time by looking on the side there, and it's the digits from the dashboard.
Superb. You got it there?
And it's completely impractical to use whatsoever. If someone says, do you know what the time is? You're like, yep. No, but all 4 lights on the flux capacitor are working.
Brilliant.
I see something really cool because it's down here.
Yeah, go for it. Right, I think Dave's away.
Oh yes,
he's back again. Hey. So they're going to make a noise, Dave, so it goes back to you.
Oh, I was just going to say, oh yeah, look at that bad boy.
Wow.
25 quid off Amazon.
Superb.
I showed someone it at work, and I'm not saying he's not the smartest tool in the shed, but he's not the smartest tool in the shed because he actually went, does it work? Yes, Charles, it works. I came here tonight on it. It's far more economical than my car.
Superb. Last couple from Adam. Did you ever go to nightclubs and put your hands up? And if so, what tune got you up?
I remember Ritzy. There used to be a nightclub downtown called Ritzy. Remember this when you hit your 18th birthday? Because we're not that far apart, so I'm pretty sure you got this as well. All the nightclubs, I don't know how they found this out, but all the nightclubs would know, and then they would send you a letter saying free entry and a free bottle of champagne if you come here.
No, I never got that in Scotland.
And then, so we used to, I remember we planned it in advance because me and my twin, obviously, birthday same day because we're twins. We got all the letters we had and we just did a rotation of all the nightclubs and got completely shit-canned off the free bottles of champagne. Didn't buy a single drink. But I think back then it didn't really matter what it was, because when you're really, really young and you get a couple of drinks inside of you, every bloody song is stick your hands in the air, isn't it?
So when were you... When you were 18, you said, Dave, yeah?
Yeah.
When would that be?
That would have been...
You were born in 1975, I'm guessing.
93?
93, yeah. Nah. I was 18, I don't know when, 1985 or something, so I don't think that was a thing back then, unfortunately.
See, if I was 18 in 1985, the thing I would have done would have been I would have gone and watched Back to the Future.
Did you? Of course, I did actually. I had a date, went out to see that. I don't think she actually saw me again. Nah, her name was Julie for now, if I remember that. But yeah. Hey, Blur or Oasis? You were just mentioning them.
Blur.
Yeah, probably go for Blur myself. And Nike, or is it Nike or Reebok?
Do you know what? Nike when I was at school in college, but now it would be Reebok, because I only found out about a year ago, and I bought them, and they're cheaper than actual mainstream Reebok shoes, but they still make the original demi boot basketball pumps.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
And I bought them, and the reason I like them is they're absolutely bulletproof. I swear to God, I could walk across a landmine and I wouldn't know it. What was that? And also, because he grew up with them, he still never lost the attraction of just sitting there. I remember when I first got them last year, and I'm sat, and my brother's looking at me going, "What? Will you stop doing that? It's really annoying." And I'm just sat there going, and then getting the release valve going. So yeah, Nike's back in the day, but Reebok now. Yeah. Because now that I'm old and mature, it's all about value for money. So I buy a pair of Reeboks. I had a pair of Reebok pumps, the running shoes. Do you remember the pumps they made?
I didn't either. I remember them.
I mean, they were the most fragile pair of shoes ever, but somehow they lasted me 9 years. I don't like value. This is when you know that you're getting old, because you used to laugh at people when you were a kid, but now you're like, no, I like my value for money. I bought a pair of shoes and they last me 5 years. Makes good economic sense.
I must admit, that's one thing about YouTube. I look at videos for like 5 years ago that I made. I'm like, fuck, I've got the same T-shirt on.
You know what? Yeah.
I did a couple of years ago for some strange. I think when I hit 100 waffles, I always say welcome to the Friday Waffle, and I just basically recorded me saying welcome to Friday Waffle, welcome to Friday Waffle. And I think there was 3 weeks running I had the same bloody T-shirt on. It had been washed in between, but
yeah,
like smelly.
That's because you always have your comfort shirt and stuff.
Now listen, guys, I'm probably going to have to call it a day soon. I think we do one more question, Dave.
Yeah, do one more. Well,
I promise.
Rest and answer them next week.
What's that? Absolutely, yeah. Are you willing to join in again next week?
Yeah, well, just because all of these people took the time to ask us, we should.
Well, what I'll do is, I assume that all the
questions... we got it sus now.
Piece of piss, mate. We know exactly what we're doing. What we can do is we've got all the questions in the top chat, which we can use as well. So we'll go for one last question by Stu Roro. With PlayStation announcing the replacement for the PS4, with a strong possibility it will be the device which streams games from the cloud, and Microsoft announcing xCloud, giving the ability to stream Xbox One games to a phone or tablet, do you think this could be the end of not only physical games, but physical consoles?
I do. I think I think it's not immediately, you know, going to jump straight in, but this is definitely an nail in the coffin. This is it's, and I don't want to live in a world where it's, well, I've just got what have I got? I've got a streaming device. What do I do with it when it's the next console? It's just a piece of plastic full of boards and circuits. It's completely obsolete. It's a waste of money. There'll be no, once we get to this stage, and it's a really good question, because I do think it's definitely, this is, you know, the clock is ticking. It means there'll be no future retro consoles either.
Mm-hmm.
Because what is the point of something? Well, it won't even work once the streaming service is gone. So yeah, I think dark times. I know people just say, "Oh, it's the future, man. Jump on it." But it's like, well, no. Why does it have to be that way? It doesn't have to be that way. And also, it's going to exclude. It doesn't matter, you know, how good technology is. It's when we get there, and it will definitely not be next generation, but the generation after, absolutely for sure, will be streaming only devices. But it's going to exclude people, because there'll always be someone who doesn't have bulletproof internet. What are they supposed to do? Just stick with previous generations? I will say this, which is, you know, people unite and fight the cause, because, well, Xbox is doing that. They're going to release a streaming device and a traditional console at the same time, aren't they?
Right, yeah.
So I say, everyone, if you've got a love of traditional consoles, if you want to do absolutely everything you can to prolong the inevitable, because it is inevitable, buy the Xbox, even if it's more expensive, buy the Xbox with a physical drive on it. But yeah, you're right. It's definitely, we've talked about it for years. People have been vlogging about it for years, haven't they, on YouTube and stuff? But it's like, and it's always been this thing way off.
It's happening now, yeah.
But yeah, there's a clock. You know, when you see those billboards for movies where the time was ticking down to a release date, they should just, like, it's like, you know, ripping off a band-aid. We know it's coming. Just stick a big fucking clock up downtown with a clock ticking on. So we know when it's coming. We can all be depressed together.
I mean, do you think? I personally think that nostalgia isn't something that is prevalent in, like, say, my daughter's age. I mean, she plays video games. I don't think she'll really ever think about. She may think about a game. Oh, I used to play, I don't know what the hell it would be. I used to play Sims, whatever. But she doesn't. She's got no affiliation or affection or nostalgia to a particular system. Whereas you look at the Spectrum and it invokes all these memories. I think because back in the day, you could get this, you could get a Commodore 64, you could get a VIC 20, you could get a BBC, and you had to kind of make your pick. But now, like, all these modern consoles that are coming out, you know, your mini, like the Atari thing that's coming out, and all these, they're all just a PC, probably running emulators.
Yeah, they're a chip in a box.
Aye, that's exactly it. So I don't know if my daughter's going to look back in 30 years' time and think, oh, I would love to play Fortnite again. I'd love to play Overwatch the same way that I like to play old games. I don't know.
I think what it'll be is that generation will have nostalgia or affection for a game, but not a system. And like you said, they probably won't even be able to. They can remember playing it, but they won't necessarily.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad, really.
Aye, no, it is. I mean, one thing, I don't know. I mean, somebody's thinking to herself, like, a lot of us, like, a lot of people, you hear people complaining about, oh, the PS4 is not backwards compatible, and and you know, if I was to put my Sony hat on for a second, if they were to do a market research and go up to a shopping centre and ask 1,000 people, are you interested in playing PlayStation 2 games on a PlayStation 5? I reckon probably 99 out of 100 would say, I'm not interested. It's like my daughter's age, she's only interested in playing the current. It's maybe only old farts like herself that want it.
I think the fact that I love, you know, the backwards compatibility feature. Well, I love backwards compatibility anyway, but like you said, and the reason I love, and that's one of the reasons I went the Xbox One route, is I like backwards compatibility because I have all this nostalgia for old systems. If I didn't have nostalgia for old systems, I'm pretty sure every time a new system came out, my old system would be binned. If I had my way, though, I think the pinnacle of technologies, and I would have passed the laws that we could never progress past the ZX Spectrum.
You know what? I would be quite happy with that. I would be quite happy with that.
So I think there was I mean, we'll save it for next week, but there was a question, which is, what's your most played system? And it's through emulation, and not just because, and he said, but not because you make videos, but it's not just because I make videos, because it's Spectrum stuff. because when I make a video on a game, more often than not, I'll go, oh my God, I forgot how amazing that is. So when the camera goes off, I still carry on playing it until I finish it. There you go. There's games I complete all the time. Probably because they're the only ones I can complete. Is Ultimate.
You don't realise how bloody difficult games were back in the day compared to nowadays, you know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway, listen, I think, Dave, I think we'll draw this one to a close. It's probably a couple of hours I've been on online. So what we're going to do, guys, is if Dave's up for it, maybe next week we'll get together again and we'll just continue. We now know what we're doing, so we'll maybe kick off for 7:30 again. But what I'll do is I'll stick a little video letting you guys know when we're going to be putting this together again. So, and listen, guys, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone. It's been an absolute blast.
Yeah, thanks for joining me, Dave. It is. I am a fanboy of yours. I mean, you're one of the guys that's been at the sort of forefront of retro gaming. You've inspired me to have a channel, and you've inspired a lot of guys. I know quite a few of the guys that are sitting watching this. So it's been an absolute privilege to actually have you on.
Oh, it's been a blast. Thank you very much for having me on. Thank you very much for carrying the grunt of all this because, well, as you say that, my technical abilities are weak.
Okay then, guys. Anyway, listen, from Dave and I, thank you very much for joining in, and we'll see you again. Take care.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.